Je sais pas là.
Oui.
C'est moi qui partage, il faut que j'assume.
Faut que je t'ajoute ici. Je t'ajoute aussi. Et là, à partir de là, je fais ça. Application, ça. Partager. Ça. Ici, basculer. Et là, normalement,
Je parle.
Attendez, je suis en route. Désolé.
Non, je sais.
On
avec la
enchaîne.
valise, c'est 2 minutes avant la fin, peut-être.
Ouais.
Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Donc c'est 1, 2 et 3. Pas.
C'est bon?
Non. Attendez. C'est 1, 2 et 3. Oui.
Okay, so thank you for being patient because we have to get more used to this new digital event, but everything is fixed now. So it's time to move on to next presentation by Guillaume Plancheneau and Antonin Gosset from Arcadis Lyon about alternative modes of transport also take precedence in tunnels. Please, Guillaume.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to present you this state of art concerning transformation tunnel and integration of alternative transport in it. We present at the beginning how tunnel begin in an opportunity for public transport. Then how tunnel has changed in the last 20 years. We will finish with an example fundamental transformation. At first, Antonin will present you the new tunnel integration in public transport project.
Okay, thanks, Guillaume. So we will start with a bit of history of the relationships between transport and urban planning throughout the 20th century, where mobilities have followed the progresses of transport technology with a dramatic evolution. So here is an evolution where before the 1950s, streets were quite narrow and the modes were shared in the public spaces, like you would have cars and pedestrians and cycles in the same public space. But from the 50s onwards, urban sprawl has led to the creation of expressways with access dedicated to cars, a transport mode that was seen at the time as affordable, efficient, and convenient. And there, the newly created bridges and tunnels were planned to provide a fast and reliable access to city centers for cars. And the last image shows that today, cities are facing congestion and pollution, and is seen as a big problem caused by car. And this challenge pushes planners to rethink mobilities and urban planning, including the review of the tunnel functions. Then we'll just go back to what are the stages of public transport study for a tram or bus line. So first we do a socioeconomic and urban analysis, then we do a traffic assessment. In the next stage, we do a technical analysis of several routes. Then once it's done, we do a selection of one corridor. And last, once a corridor is selected, there is a feasibility study for the implementation of stops and lanes. And in the previous decades, it was not really conceivable to dedicate tunnels for public transport. Tunnels were instead dedicated for fast transit to give a fast access from the suburbs to the city center. And therefore, when a new public transport line was created, this line was mostly, if it was not a metro, it was subject to congestion. Next slide. But today we're in an era where it's now possible to consider putting public transport on dedicated lanes. Why? Because there are urban challenges today. First, congestion and pollution. It's a big challenge to improve the quality of life. Then the second challenge is to reduce spatial segregation. So it's important to improve the accessibilities in city and through movements. And last, a political vision to make public transport able to compete with car to provide an offer, a transport offer. So today, there is a new paradigm. Reduce car use by reducing their share in public spaces, but also it's important to make public transport attractive, to make it as a credible alternative. And in that purpose, to provide an efficient public transport, tunnels become an opportunity. Then I'll let you go back to your presentation, Guillaume.
Before the tunnel era, mobilities have followed different transformation with horsepower on electrical steam traction power. The period after 50s is when most urban tunnels have been built during the car first era, where cars had the priority over the other modes of transport. In the current period, tramways are back in the city and active modes are promoted, cycling, walking for more urban sustainability. If a relevant urban and transport planner can insert them in new or existing tunnels. This slide summarizes 4 periods of tunnel transportation before 2000, where basically all modes were sharing tunnels. Second period, where before 2010, when the focus has been on upgrading the tunnel safety. Before 2020, there have been some innovative projects where the evacuation technical galleries have been shared to carry overload. And currently, we are in the period where the public space dedicated for car stands to be reduced, including tunnels. Before in the first period, before 2000, tunnel could have some informal uses beyond fast transit, as a parking space or dumping sites, sometimes illegal, especially in urban tunnels. Cyclists and pedestrians could use them. It was not formally forbidden to them. Anecdotally, tunnels could serve as weather shelters for bikers putting in their rain clothes. In the second period, after 2000, tunnels have been upgraded on safety. For safety reasons, the regulator have restricted traffic only for cars and forbidding them for pedestrians and cyclists. An increase of the tunnel safety equipment, structural civil work, and supervision. In the case two modes of transport follow the same corridor, the selected option was to segregate them in 2 different infrastructures, like a tramway in one tunnel and cars in other tunnel, like on the right on the tunnel Génère in Le Havre. Between 2010 and 2020, some initiative has risen in favor of modal mutualization in tunnels, especially by allowing pedestrians and cyclists to use the escape galleries. The Croix-Rousse tunnel origin was the necessity to build an escape gallery parallel to an existing road tunnel. It has been decided to take the opportunity to create larger escape gallery than necessary to include other modes. One tunnel has a dual cycling path, as pedestrian sidewalk, and one way for bus lane. The Col des Montais tunnel, photo on the right, has the originality to carry 2 modes of transport within the same lane. Alternatively, trains and cars. There are also many disused tunnels in cities that constitute a quite interesting potential for conversion. The tunnel you can see on this photo, unfit with the current safety road walls, have been closed. They could be converted for other purposes like cycle transit or as a retail area. Some contemporary projects led to the conversion of existing tunnels into multimodal infrastructures. The car function is kept, but its capacity has been reduced to give room to other functions, cycling, walking, public transport lane. On the top right is a photo of Paris Tunnel converted into a Corona pop-up lane after the COVID-19 first lockdown. It's still supposed to be a temporary solution as of today. To conclude, Antonin will present you the constraints involved by the insertions of public transport in tunnel.
Okay. So, yeah. On this slide, you can see an example of a conversion of a road tunnel into a tram tunnel. It's in Montpellier in South France. The line one of the tram is reusing a former tunnel that used to be dedicated to cars. But you can see on the photo on the top right that not every motorist has understood the modification. Last, so next slide. Here, yeah, we are presenting the constraints involved when we are inserting a new tram line or BRT line into an existing tunnel. The impacts of the insertions are the following. So first, the tunnel gauge and the implementation of the overhead contact line. It's made of the structure gauge, for example. The structure gauge that you can see in one of the image is the space in which no moving static obstacle is allowed. So it's like 7 meters for a bus and 6.5 meter for a tram. And in height, it's 4.10 meter. You can see that it's larger for a bus than for a tram because the tram is guided. So it makes it more secure to follow the track, whereas the bus has a more is driven by a driver, so it needs to have a larger space. And the gauge may impact other function. If we want to insert this transport mode in the tunnel, it may involve the reduction of the number of lanes, for example, or even a full way. So this has to be analyzed in the first place. Then there are the fire rules and evacuation rules that may have to be reviewed if the tunnel functions are changed. A bus rapid transit line and trams carry more people than private vehicles within the tunnel. And last, modification to the existing infrastructure and networks. So a detailed analysis is required, for example, for the draining, or for the electricity, according to the position of the track, because if the track is put over one of these networks, they may have to be diverted on the side of the track in order to make them work correctly. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any question.
All right. Thank you very much, Guillaume and Antonin. So I think we've got time for one or two questions from the chat box. There is one question more related to contacts to Arcadis, so I will let you answer. The question is with whom from Arcadis, who is working on these new innovations tackling congestion and pollution in tunnels. So it's the first question. But I would add a second one. I would like to enlarge a little bit the scope of the discussion. Can you maybe give us some precision about, are there some main rules and constraints when a tunnel is used both for road traffic and other transportation modes? Does it raise up new issues or not? Are there constraints, specific constraints? How do you tackle that.
Okay,
Yeah.
for the second question, I let you, Antonin, to answer this question.
Okay. Yeah, the constraints are not exactly identical between the modes. The rules are different that are to be applied to these different modes. And there is currently no regulation for mixed-use tunnels. So, and but the minimum height for a tram insertion must be at least 4.5 meters to insert the overhead contact line. But if that's the case, if the tunnel is smaller than 4.5 meters, it would mean that it's a small tunnel. The track has to be accessible by other vehicles. No, sorry, the tram, the cars must not cross the track. So there has to be a separator, and it must be at least 30 centimeter high separator, or the track must be elevated by 30 centimeter. There's also another constraint, which is that during works, the tunnel is when the tunnel is closed for the maintenance purposes of the public transport, the tunnel will be closed to other vehicles. And as I said earlier, it may also involve deviating the existing networks, especially the draining pipes.
Okay, thank you very much, Antonin. Maybe the first question was the contact. Please, Guillaume.
You can contact Antonin or I for have more information. And to add the answer of Antonin about multi-mode in the same tunnel, regulation don't provide the mutualization of mode in the same tunnel. Designer must fit the best solution. It's the best fit of the solution to integrate all constraints of each regulation.
All right. Thank you very much, both of you. So now 2 minutes technical break, and we join very quickly for the next lecture.